you done to me? As the dark energy flows from inside of me, inside of me.
So I'm starting off with a bare face, and I'm going to be using the Belief moisturizer. This is their Hungarian water essence, just to hydrate my skin before I apply makeup. And then I'm taking the Mellow Cosmetics brow pomade in the shade Taupe, and I'm just doing a pretty natural feathery brow today. I'm skipping past this pretty quick because brows are boring and everyone does them different. Now I'm taking my Anastasia concealer, and I'm just using this to carve out my brows. This works really well because it has such high coverage. It's a pretty good creamy concealer, so I really like it, and it works great. And then I'm just blending that in really quickly using my finger, since the warmth of my skin helps melt it into the skin. And then I'm taking the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot, and I'm just using that all over my eyelid to prime my eyes for shadow. And since I'm using the Jaclyn Hill palette today and it does not have any matte cream shades, I'm going to go into the Wet n Wild powder. You can use any face powder that you have just to set that primer. And now I'm going into this beautiful orange transition shade, and I'm just blending that really lightly into my crease to start off with, and then I'm slowly going to add more color. One thing I love about this palette is that you really can do so much with one color, just depending on how much pressure and product you use. I'm just going back and forth in windshield wiper motions and a little bit of circular motions too, just to get a perfect blend. And now I'm going into this beautiful teal shade, and I wanted to do something kind of different with this palette, so I mostly focused on the greens, and I'm just starting off by really just putting this into the crease and building it up rather than blending it out. So I'm just adding more and more product, not focusing too much on blending right now, but I really want this green to show up. And I feel like when you put the kind of teal on top of the orange, it turns it to green, so it ends up being really pretty. And now I'm going into this shade, which is called Pukey. It's the only shade in the palette that I actually remember because it's such a funny name, but I'm just using that to help blend between the orange and the green. And then I'm going back in with the teal again and just adding it for even more just green. I'm just going back and forth because that's the best way to blend, is going back and forth between colors and brushes. And then blending with my big fluffy brush again. I'm going into the darker matte green shade, which this shade is honestly so beautiful. It looks amazing with this look, and just I love how all the deepening shades in the palette actually show up as the color that they're supposed to be and don't just look like black with a tiny bit of green. It actually is a really true dark green. It's just gorgeous. So I'm blending that and kind of doing a halo eye. And I'm just building that color up. And again, just building it up more and more, just making it as dark and pigmented as I want it to be. And then again, taking the brush very light and just blending the edges. Now I'm going in with the black shade to add a little bit more depth and dimension, and I'm just blending this in circular motions in my outer V and my inner corner. And going back with my fluffy brush, surprise, surprise, and blending the edges. So I felt like I brought the shade up just a little too high. I do that a lot of the time when I blend. So a quick little tip to fix that is to go back in with your face powder or your cream matte shade and just put that heavily onto the brow bone. So I kind of pack it on and then I use the brush to blend it, and it makes it look like you didn't put your shadows so high. And then I went back in with my fluffy brush just to blend those two colors seamlessly. Now I'm taking this shade, which is beautiful. It's kind of like a blue gray mix, but it just wasn't doing it for me. It didn't have enough pop on the center of the lid, so I decided to go in with this really bright teal shade just down the center to add a little bit of extra dimension and just something fun to the look. And then I'm going in and blending again. Alright, and now I'm going in with a very small wing, just using my Kat Von D tattoo liner in Trooper and lining my eyes just because I wanted to go in with lashes, and I thought a small wing would look cute, would look good with this look. And then I'm going in with the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara and just coating my lashes before I go in with falsies. And I'm applying them here. I really have no idea which pair of lashes these are. I found them in like an empty container and I just don't know, so I'm sorry about that. But any lashes that you have will do. And now I'm taking the Becca First Light Primer, which is a beautiful, like, hydrating and very glowy primer, and I'm just putting that all over my skin. And then I'm taking the Flower Beauty About Face Foundation in LF1 and just putting this all over with my Morphe sponge, which is actually really, really good. I'm really enjoying it. It's so soft. It's a really good sponge, surprisingly. And I really like this foundation too. I feel like it has a very natural, dewy type look to it. I really like it for the summer. It just looks really nice and it's not too heavy on the face. The first time I used it, I wasn't impressed, but now I can't stop using it. And now I'm going with the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Fair, and I'm just doing that everywhere I highlight, underneath my eyes, my nose, my chin, my forehead, and blending that in. Now I'm going with the RCMA No Color Powder, and I'm baking underneath my eyes. And then I let that sit for a few minutes, and now I'm dusting it away. And to finish up the eyes, I'm going onto my lower lash line with the teal shade and just buffing that underneath the entire lower lash line. And then I'm taking that aqua, a really pretty standout shade, and just putting that in the center. And then I'm taking the dark green and putting that onto the inner corner and the outer corner of the lower lash line, just for a really nice smoky look. And last but not least, I'm taking the black shade and just connecting the outer corner of my eye with the wing, because I feel like that really pulls everything together. And then I'm going in with the Nars Via Veneto eyeliner just to do my waterline and tightline, and then some mascara. And then I'm going with the highlight in the Jaclyn Hill palette, which is insane. It's so, so pigmented. Definitely be more light-handed with this than I was. It's gorgeous, but I did go ahead and just blend over it with my original brush just to make it a little less crazy. I really liked how in the inner corner it mixed with the greens and kind of looked like a green, almost duochrome shade. I thought it was really, really pretty and added a nice pop to the look. And now I'm moving in with my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, which is my favorite, and I'm just bronzing my skin. I am not going light at all, I'm going heavy. I was going for full glam. So I'm doing my cheekbones, my temples, my forehead, everywhere that it's acceptable. And then I'm going with my NYX HD blush in Taupe, and I'm using this to contour. And then, like I said, I'm going ham, going full glam, not trying to look natural right now, so I was contouring my cheekbones pretty heavy. And I really like this brush. It's really, really nice for getting a precise line. And then I also went ahead and took that on my nose and a little bit underneath my lip too. I'm not sure if I show that. And then I'm doing the Milani Luminoso blush, which is one of my favorite blushes. It's so good. And I'm just putting that onto my cheeks. It just adds so much life and like just prettiness to the face. And then I'm taking the ColourPop Super Shock Shadow, or Super Shock Chic and Lunch Money, and I'm using that as a base for my highlight. If you have fair skin and you want your highlight to really, really pop, I especially recommend using a cream highlighter and then putting a powder highlight on top, because that will just do magical things for you. So that's what I'm doing here. I love this combo. I'm obsessed now. I can't stop doing it. It looks so good on fair skin. You guys can see I'm literally putting it everywhere because I'm obsessed. Now I'm going with my BH Cosmetics Spotlight palette, and I'm taking the shade Glow, I think that says, and I'm putting that on top, and you guys can see, amazing. I was so impressed. I love these two together. Stunning. And I have a full face swatch video of the BH Cosmetics highlight palettes. If you guys are interested, I can leave a link down below. They're really good. I highly recommend them. And then I'm blending underneath with my blush brush. And then I'm setting with my Scandinavia Bridal Makeup Finishing Spray just to melt all the powders and make it look quote-unquote natural. And then I'm going in with the Wet n Wild lip liner in Think Flamingos. And I started out just lining my lips, but then I decided to fill them completely in. I was going for like a nude, really nude lip, and I knew that my liquid lipstick was a little brown, so I wanted to add more of a pink tint. So this is the Wet n Wild Catsuit liquid lipstick. I can't remember the shade. It's like beige something. It's like the lightest gray nude tone that they have. It's pretty unique. And then I'm putting a pure lip gloss on top. I can't remember the shade name, but I'll link it down below. And I ended up loving the way the lips looked. And that is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.